look at this thing. It looks gorgeous, classy, but sort of sinister, and the color is flat gray. And look at those wheels. Man, I might be in love. Of course, when you're selling a six-figure car, it's pretty important to make sure it looks the part, and that's the case with this latest Audi RS5. And man oh man, if it performs half as good as it looks, you might be in trouble. Let's take a look and roll the review. This is the former RS5, which we drove quite a few years back in the winter time because it had quattro all-wheel drive, traction-enhancing electronics galore, and the best part to me was the gorgeous 4.2-liter all-motor V8 with a simply eye-watering 8,500 RPM redline.
Now that's nowhere near what's under the hood of the new RS5, which is now using a 2.9-liter twin-turbocharged V6, because all-motor V8s are not as trendy as they once were, especially when a smaller boosted engine like this one serves up more power and torque and uses less fuel to do it. We'll get into the engine a little bit later.
So, what is this car? Well, a high-performing luxury powerhouse for big-dollar ballers, mostly, but also an upscale coupe that's surprisingly good at comfortable touring if that's what you want to get up to. Look at this cabin, equal parts luxury and high-tech, half futuristic spaceship cockpit, half nearly flagship-level luxury with detail, sculpting, and craftsmanship on display. And gorgeous quilted seats with perfect stitching and leather so fragrant you smell like it after you leave the car. The seats even have massage if you've, say, ever wanted to lose 3 demerit points while getting a level 3 stretch. The RS5 starts in the low 80s. This one, with an options list that costs as much as a GTI, comes in at a whopping $115, a figure nicely supported by that fantastic cabin. If you need them, rear seats are not too hard to access, though at 5'11" I was nearly out of headroom. Back up front, the fully digital instrument cluster is just out of this world, fully customizable, vividly animated, and highly visible in any lighting condition. Peek behind those big wheels and you'll see these ceramic brakes, one of the biggest signals towards the RS5's performance, and a $6,000 option. Or the tailpipes, the size of delicious watermelons. We'll be hearing from those soon. You get 444 horsepower, an identical amount of torque, and that's delivered to all four wheels via quattro through an 8-speed automatic that shifts so well you start to get why they don't offer a manual. That would still be my preference, but a human being simply can't change gears as fast, perfectly, or precisely as this. Finally, note that the power output on paper versus what you feel from the driver's seat are a little mismatched. They're feeding those horses something really special if there really are only 444 of them. So, big power, big performance, and my goodness, would you just look at it. From even a glance, this ticks all the right boxes to generate something of importance in winning over the dollars of high-end shoppers. Absolute lust. There's a quiet side too, though this car is literally engineered with performance to peel your face off. It's a relaxing place if you like. Just click the drive select system into comfort mode and the driveline becomes invisible. You don't hear or feel anything the engine or transmission are doing. The shocks soften for a ride like a semi-sporty family sedan. Steering gets light and lazy to make it easier to steer gently and smoothly. And the radar cruise and semi-autonomous lane-keeping assist systems are the best I've ever used, consistently smooth, very intelligent, and very predictable. So as haywire as this car can be, it's also totally game if you want to just cruise in relatively quiet comfort for hours, or listen to music with incredible potency from the Bang & Olufsen stereo. And if you'll do your cruising at night, you're supported by some of the best headlights on the road. But you can leave comfort mode and engage dynamic mode for push-button access to fully bonkers performance, including 0 to 60 in about 3.9, along with some notable sound effects.
Good Lord, that's fast, as in, seriously, watch yourself or you'll probably wind up getting carried away and going to jail fast. And I miss the old engine, the screaming revs, and this one's beautiful in its own way. It's less of a screaming snarl and more of a howl, and if you lift the throttle or upshift, it burps and pops as if someone's randomly hammering away on a bass drum in the trunk. And the styling of this thing will turn heads, but the exhaust sound will do the exact same and just as powerfully too. This thing puts on a hell of a show. There's nothing wrong with how that sounds.
Two overwhelming sensations are apparent when driving this thing hard. First, the instantaneousness. Other than a tiny lick of turbo lag, RS5 does everything you ask with almost exaggerated immediacy. Steering inputs instantly trigger a change in direction. Gear shifts are completed nearly as quickly as you can click the paddles. With special baffles open in the mufflers, the car is louder, and even little changes in throttle input instantly change the shape and sound of the shrill exotic howl that drenches the cabin. The other sensation is confidence. As hard as you'd care to drive this one on a public road, you'll never come close to feeling like you're running out of grip or stability or stopping power from those big ceramic brakes. It's right there with you, authentically thrilling, very fast, and with a ride like a coil-over-equipped weekend track car in dynamic mode, but all the while feeling supportive and even a bit playful. Performance means putting on a show, after all, with sights, sounds, and sensations that you'll remember, and this is one performance car that really nails it. I found two gripes. First, the pedal feel from the ceramic brakes is a little strange at times, inconsistent on occasion, and as ceramic brakes tend to, they lack a precise and urgent initial bite unless they're hot from hard use. These are not something you really need on the street, and you're likely best to just save the $6 grand for speeding tickets. Or maybe tires. Now this has quattro all-wheel drive, so you're not going to be liquefying the Hancooks or doing any rubber roasting burnouts. But if you drive in a city like Sudbury, full of potholes and road craters, you might blow one out. I didn't, but the ride on the sort of worst-case scenario roads we have here makes it feel as though you might. The RS5 is a comfy cruiser on a smooth highway, but the ride quality degrades pretty rapidly on rougher surfaces. So, gorgeous looks, authentic moves, great sounds, and a playful, instant, and confidence-inspiring drive when pushed, but also a luxurious touring coupe that's just about as comfortable as you want it to be. This one's worth a serious look if you're shopping in this segment. Lucky you. I'd also advise checking out comparable playthings from BMW and Mercedes-AMG. And remember too that if you figure 440 horsepower isn't quite enough, you can have a 650 horsepower Corvette Z06 for very similar money. These are great choices to have to make. Thanks for watching.